Hello Gold Farmers, welcome to another Goldenrod farming video. Today we'll be taking a look at my Karazhan shuffle, is what I call it. So I make about 100k an hour off of Karazhan, sometimes more, it just depends on what transmog items I make, but I can make a steady 50k off of Karazhan, and a lot of it involves the Netherweave shuffle that I do. However, it's actually a lot more than just the Netherweave shuffle. What I do is I'll take the greens that I get and I will also disenchant those. And I will be hopping over to my mage here soon after I get done with this run, and I will try to explain everything a lot better. Karazhan is my favorite BC, I guess, gold making method. It's made me so much over the past couple of years, and it's really close. The soul essences do play a small role in this, but for the most part we are after all of that netherweave cloth that I've been getting. Karazhan takes me about 5 to 6 minutes to run. It all depends on the horses at the beginning. If they start stunning quite a bit, I will kill them, but if they don't, then I'll just continue to run. Sometimes they will constantly stun you and sometimes they won't, so it usually just depends. I've also added a little bit to this route, and I've not really ran it since I've added anything to it, so it will be a little interesting to experience it. Right now I've got almost 3k in item value. I didn't clear my bags completely before I had started this, but that's not going to make that much of a difference. The only thing that I added to this was the guest chamber, which you don't have to run if you don't want to, but you do get a little bit more transmog items along with leather if you're a skinner. And there are quite a few mobs here as well. I believe there is a rare that's usually always up that shows up back here. The Netherweave shuffle is probably one of the best shuffles that you can use in the game, and the Karazhan shuffle is by far the most profitable one that I know of. And the reason why I'm not really explaining a whole lot of it right now is I guess I've got to actually do it to be able to explain it. Just remember that you can't kill any bosses if you do decide to do this, because you'll get locked out of Karazhan. If you run Karazhan solely for the bosses, then go ahead and give this shuffle a try, because it'll still add a little bit of gold onto your hour or your run. And I believe I've already got everything on my mage that I need. I just wanted to do a quick run so that way you guys can actually see the materials that I actually get and all of that. I got quite a few greens in one run. I actually think I got more greens than I usually do, and that might have something to do with the newest patch. But you get greens, the soul essences, and netherweave cloth. Those are the three biggest things that you need for this shuffle. I'm trying not to make this guide too long, though it just all depends. The reason why you need the greens is because we're going to actually disenchant them instead of throwing them on the auction house. Usually I will pick out the transmog items that are selling for around 1k or higher, and I'll set those aside to throw up on the auction house. If they are less than that, then I'll just disenchant them. And disenchanting is also a huge part of this guide. You could probably get away with it if you just bought the arcane dust off your auction house, but you're not making as much gold, so I guess in all honesty you really just need to be a tailor, but you also need to have a decent amount of arcane dust on your auction house. A lot of what I actually do is I'll disenchant the greens I get, use all of the arcane dust, and then instead of doing the netherweave shuffle, I just leave it at that, so that way I have a little bit of cloth left over for the rest of the shuffle. Looks like I was able to sell a few of those transmog items from the forge camp. Just looking for the rest of my materials now. And another thing about the soul essences is I don't recommend that you save up on them, because it does take quite a while to craft them and they don't sell for a whole lot, so I'd just recommend crafting or using all of what you can from that run and then try to get rid of the bolt of soul cloth. But there are three main items that you will be looking to craft after you get done with Karazhan. First is the Bolt of Netherweave, which, depending on how everything goes, it could take quite a bit of time. If you don't have a whole lot, then it shouldn't take too long. The next thing that you will focus on crafting is the Bolt of Imbued Netherweave. The Imbued Netherweave sells for about 70 gold on each server. On my server it's going for about 60, but it sells pretty decently for me. I used to have a small stock of it, and I guess I don't anymore, but if you see here, I still have 61 of the soul cloth, so the Imbued Netherweave does sell quite a bit faster. And then after you get done with that, you don't have to, but you can go and craft the spell cloth, which sells for 2.2k. It uses 1 primal fire and a primal mana. The shadow cloth, which I've made, this is the main cloth that I will usually make. It sells for an average of 2k. On my server it's going for about 7, and it takes a primal shadow and primal fire. And then you've got your primal moon cloth, which takes a primal life and primal water. It sells for about 2k as well. If you don't have the primals, then I do believe these are the two cheapest. After you get done with your Imbued Netherweave, you can switch over to your soul cloth. And then in one run you should have about 10k worth of items in your bag. You should still have some arcane dust left over, if I'm correct. If it's not arcane dust, then it's the Bolt of Netherweave, which, if you have the Netherweave left over, then I go to the Netherweave Shuffle, which you craft the Netherweave Belt and the Netherweave Bracers, and then disenchant those, and then you just sell the dust raw. So off of one run, you can make about 10k off of materials alone, which is pretty good. The materials sell pretty quickly on my server. The hardest one I have selling, though, is the Bolt of Soul Cloth. The process, though, is I'll send all of the items over that I get. I usually have to send them over every 4 runs, I believe it is. And then when I do that, I'll go ahead and craft all of the bolts, so that way it uses up a little bit of time. It used to be that it took me about 40 minutes to complete 10 runs, but adding a little bit, I don't think it will. And then I would disenchant all of the greens that sold for less than 1k, collect the arcane dust, then I'd craft the Bolt of Imbued Netherweave, and then I would craft the soul cloth. The soul cloth is used in a few different transmog items. So it's possible that it's just not very popular, or the transmog set might not be very popular. The recipes drop from Karazhan itself, so you could get lucky and get one of these recipes to drop and just craft the transmog set yourself. The gloves, I believe you can buy from the vendor. So from an hour's worth of Karazhan, you should be able to make around 10k or 100k off of the materials alone. A lot of times I'll have a couple recipes to sell and some transmog items to sell, so you should be able to expect anywhere from 100 to 150k an hour here. It does depend on your server though. The biggest seller is the Bolt of Imbued Netherweave and the Arcane Dust. Once you get all of that, those are my largest gold makers in this shuffle. I do have another shuffle that is similar to this one. If I need to improve how to explain everything, do let me know. If you were able to catch on, then also let me know that, so I just know a little bit of how I need to go about these guides. The next one is Zool Grub. That one also yields me quite a bit of gold, but I don't usually do it as much because it requires a lot more character hopping. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.